Hello, fabulous superstar Aries. Welcome to your horoscope for the month of November 2025. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. Synchronicity University is proud to present some absolutely incredible programs starting this month over at synchronicityuniversity.com with me looking at past lives in the astrology chart part 3. Mark Lawrenson, super popular superstar astrologer, teaching on the astrology of intimacy, and these incredible speakers only at synchronicityuniversity.com. Links below. It will be on the 5th of the month that we will have this month's full moon. This full moon is going to be speaking in harmony with both Jupiter and Saturn, overall making it quite the stable energy and an energy of growth that is well paced, that is measured. And for you, it is this full moon that is taking place in a part of the sky that has to do with money you earn, money you spend, self-love and self-esteem is covered here as well. This is an energy of prosperity. It is an energy of fruition of ideas or new chapters that you've tried to put into place, perhaps going all the way back to 6 months ago. That was how long ago we had a new moon in this part of the sky, whereas new moons bring with them new beginnings. It is what happens at a new moon that tends to feel like it really comes forward to fruition and to a place of greater clarity, a greater honesty 6 months later under the light of the full moon like we have now. Whether this is more or better, or even new financial opportunities that have to do with a raise in your salary or getting a promotion that has to do with a raise, that's the kind of income we're looking at here. And if it is something brand spanking new, well, chances are it is not going to be just about something feeling like it comes out of nowhere, but rather it is in some way going to find its roots in what was happening for you 6 months ago. This might be personal realizations you're having about what's worth doing for money and what isn't, and what you want to put into place that you hope aligns you with greater prosperity, especially in the fullness of time, that much more. Healthy self-love, healthy self-esteem. This can be a time when you notice yourself taking a huge leap forward in that regard, where there's a moment, a situation that you might have responded to a certain way before, but now it's different because you are different based on all the work you've done to affirm a healthy sense of self-esteem. And this is where the fruits start to show up for that work that has helped you to put a foundation in place towards healthy self-love. On the 9th of the month, Mercury goes retrograde, and Mercury is going to retro first in a part of the sky for you that is worldly. It has to do with understanding your place in the world. And then on the 19th of the month, a retrograde Mercury is going to move back into a part of the sky that has to do with profound change, truth, and wealth as well. On the 29th is when Mercury will go direct, and it really is going to be over the course of December especially that what seems like such a sure thing where you're so clear this month, well, it just might be then that things really start to look very different for so many of us out there. And for you, it starts with things perhaps being visited, being seen a certain way, having to do with things like long distance travel, immigration, citizenship, higher learning, and legal matters as well. And more personally, the political or philosophical or religious beliefs that help you to understand your place in the world that much more. Well, Mercury retrograde is a wonderful time to reconsider and to move towards a greater sense of self-honesty. It is a wonderful time to reflect as well, to go over your journey so far, to understand why you are where you are today as part of more consciously choosing your pathway forward. And so very often what happens with a Mercury retrograde is it feels like old stuff gets stirred. And for you, it might be things that you used to believe long ago. Now it feels like they're coming forward for you in some way to learn from and understand more deeply the purpose that those beliefs might have served for you before. But a more literal way might be that if it is that you've thought about maybe pursuing higher education, you've thought about pursuing a legal matter, or it feels like one of these matters has been ongoing. It's now that you'll get to look at what's really going on and also how you really feel about a situation. And going to that deeper truth is such a core energy of this time, since part of this Mercury retrograde season is spent with Mercury moving through and standing still and going direct in a part of the sky that has to do with being honest with yourself, and how it is that self-honesty can be a game changer. It helps you to understand what stays and what goes and what it is to be true to you. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't say, given this deeply transformative part of the sky is also one that has to do with wealth. And when we look at wealth, we look at things like grants, loans, mortgages, benefits you qualify for, your ability to access resources. Now, that can mean emotional or spiritual. Often it means financial. And to me, this part of the sky often shows up in terms of realizing how cared for we are, whether that's by the universe or whether that's in the more immediacy by the people in our lives that we didn't even know that we were cared for until it was that it showed up for us in ways that end up being deeply meaningful. Do be on the lookout, especially when it is that Mercury is standing still and then going direct in the last days of the month. That is really when it's going to be so much clearer to you how well cared for you are, how well provided for you are, and how where it was that you thought maybe there were people who didn't approve of certain choices that you were making, well, actually, there's a lot of love and there's a lot of understanding there in a way that helps you to feel like something changes within you, that much more for the better. Now, it will be on the 11th of the month, just 2 days after Mercury officially goes retro, that Jupiter is going to go retro. And Jupiter represents a principle that is over the top. It can be overconfident, and it is an energy of going too far. Sometimes that works, right? Sometimes that ends up being exactly what it is we need. We didn't realize how much it was that we needed to believe in ourselves and just really go all in a given matter. From that place of self-belief, sort of putting aside our own doubts, just that can be a game-changing energy. However, at the same time, where it is perhaps we may need to reflect more deeply on where our greater blessings actually lie. And in this case, for you, Jupiter's going retrograde at the foundation of the chart, having to do with your past and your living situation and your family of origin, your parents in particular, where that applies. And Jupiter is a burst of healing, wisdom, understanding, a more philosophical understanding at that. Now, if you're trying to tap into this quite literally, like you're wanting to buy, you're wanting to sell, I would just be a little bit mindful because it is that Mercury's retrograde. Mercury retrograde can be amazing in how it is that it reintroduces opportunities that you might have thought were gone. And in your case, it's opportunities to get out into the world, figuratively or literally, and also opportunities to access resources. That could work where it comes to perhaps a mortgage or other type of big loan that you'd applied for and you thought it wasn't going to happen and it wouldn't go through. And now you're looking at it again, you're understanding how it is you might want to approach it differently. However, where it is that you're signing documents, especially financial documents, and especially with Jupiter also going retrograde just 2 days after Mercury goes retrograde, well, all of that suggests to me that it is very possible that you might think that something is a really great deal. The funding looks like it's coming into place, and actually, there are some key details there that you are just not seeing because the hope is so high. Now, of course, if you don't have a choice, you want to trust your life. And even if there's way too much hope and there's going to be stuff that you have to sort out a few months down the road when it is that Jupiter goes direct, well, that could be a conscious decision that you're making anyways. Throwing caution to the wind is a way of having hope. And at the same time, allow yourself that space to know that perhaps you might be seeing things in a way that is very colored by your own optimism, or perhaps you telling yourself that you're optimistic, but actually that's not the case. Maybe there is lack, maybe there is fear, maybe there's a sense that if I don't take this opportunity right now, there isn't going to be another. Well, this is where you're able to see it that much more differently, with that much more nuance and that much more clarity, especially within yourself. This can be a powerful moment for you in how it is that it helps you to understand ultimately what it is that home is for you. And where you're reflecting on that more deeply, it can be Jupiter going retrograde now that is going to invite you to bring healing to your past, to bring a new understanding to what home is for you, helping you to feel grounded in higher principles that feel positively hopeful. Now, if all of this wasn't enough, on the 7th of the month, Uranus is going to retrograde back into this same financial part of the sky that we have that full moon in just 2 days later. And that suggests that it isn't just about the opportunities that the full moon brings, but it is about the things that take you by surprise. It's the new definitions, it's the new inspirations that find you now, that help you to go to a deeper level, to understand what a higher calling might be for you and how it is that you want to align with it. This is sort of like the last hurrah. It is going to be, once we enter a new year, that Uranus will leave this part of your sky, this financial part of your sky, not to return for about 8 decades to come. And so for some of us out there, this might be a sense of a important chapter starting to wrap up, where it changes your relationship with money itself. And what you thought was so worth doing and the place you had money in, well, now you just might see it differently and put money in its right place for you. Now, what that is going to be dependent on your unique circumstances. But what I can say is where it is that you are aligning what it is to be true to you, what it is to be really you, with an understanding of the abundance that you live, that is available to you, you're going to recognize that many more opportunities at greater abundance that you can tap into very quickly and to your advantage. On the 20th of the month, we are going to have this month's new moon. This is a very active moon in the sky. It is this new moon that is activating the really big planets in particular. We're looking at speaking in supreme harmony with Neptune, speaking in harmony with Saturn, in harmony with Uranus. So there's lots going on here. What we also have is Mercury hand in hand with this full moon as well. And this full moon is happening just as Mercury begins to slow down, starts to stand still, and will, as we navigate towards the end of the month, go direct, as I spoke of earlier, but in the same part of the sky that this full moon is in. Profound change, truth, transformation, and wealth is covered here as well. Boy, are you ever resourceful? Are you ever feeling a sense of possibilities and new beginnings available to you? New chapters in your understanding of what it is that has changed, that you're ready to change. And for some Aries, it might feel like you're making some power move at this time to move with confidence in a direction where you desire perhaps deeply changed circumstances in some way. But for other Aries, I have to say, this energy might be a whole lot more personal. It might be a moment where you are, in some cases, finally being honest with yourself about a key matter where it was difficult before. And the act of being honest in and of itself is a game changer for you at this time, in how it in an instant helps you to understand where it is perhaps you were not being honest with yourself and why that might have been. As you come to this deeper understanding, well, you get to make your choices a lot more consciously going forward from here. And again, this part of the sky having to do with how well provided for you are by a generous universe. There is a lot of focus on that. Now, I will say this full moon is opposite Uranus, so there are going to be some twists and turns and surprises in a second and in a minute. But the fact that there's so much incredible support at the same time, well, it tells me whatever takes you by surprise, you're able to work with it and to your advantage. Now, where it comes to matters of love, it will be on the 6th of the month that Venus will change signs, moving out of your opposite sign and into that more profound part of the sky where we have so much energy this month with that retrograde Mercury, with a new moon as well taking place on the 20th of the month. And Venus isn't going to be that far away from that new moon as well. And so all of that is to say, this part of the sky that has to do with being honest with yourself, part of that honesty might show up in terms of your understanding of love and connection. In addition to the things I mentioned, this same part of the sky has to do with vulnerability and intimacy, how you define it, how you experience it, what it means to you, and how you live it, and where it is that you've been telling yourself intimacy is there when it really isn't. Or perhaps it's the performance of intimacy and that just isn't going to work for you. Or maybe that is more of what you're going for. I think that there are going to be some Aries who, in an instant, are understanding whom they are drawn to, what they are more deeply feeling, that much more differently. And as you have that realization, it helps you to make some key choices, especially under the light of the new moon. However, some of those realizations, some of those insights, some of those changes, they've actually been a long time coming. For those of you open to meeting someone new, a powerful pull towards another person becomes very possible at this time, where you feel yourself very drawn to another. It might feel fated even as well, but remember, Mercury is retrograde for most of this month, and especially once we get to that new moon, it is a fresh perspective that finds you and a deeper appreciation as to whom it is that you're drawn to and why, and what it is that might really be going on with you. This sense of being honest with yourself just might be being honest with yourself about why you're drawn to either certain types of people or someone specifically, and making choices more consciously as to whether or not a particular connection is one that you want to pursue. For those of you just starting to date someone, getting to a deeper level of truth with this person, a deeper understanding as to what's really going on, especially in terms of what you feel about them, is going to be a key piece of the picture at this time. That sense of being honest with yourself, just when you think you have the answer, well, you just might change your mind. So allow yourself some grace to know that. But at the same time, I feel like for many Aries, it's going to be like there's some truth that's staring you right in the face about this person, about what you really feel, about what they're really showing you. And it just might take until it is that Mercury officially goes direct in the last days of this month that you're able to see it that much more clearly, or at least admit to yourself what is so obvious. And this just might be an all or nothing moment, either propelling you towards them or having you go another way. And for those of you in an established bond, the overwhelming majority is going to find that this has to do with finding a deeper layer of connection, of bonding with your partner in a way that's meaningful to both of you. There might be a moment where the two of you are, especially under the light of the new moon on the 20th, well, having to be very honest with each other about what you're really feeling about a key matter. There will be some Aries who might experience this energy more oriented around your partner's income. And so there might be some focus on that. And yet there's all this opportunity, including in terms of prosperity. The money you need is there, and the money that your partner needs is there, and how it is that that shows up in support of you might be part of the consideration at this time as well. That very small percent out there, if you felt for a while that you might not be in the right relationship for you, you are likely to have a moment where in an instant you understand what's really going on, especially at the very end of the month. And it helps you to understand what it is that you might want to do next. What I love about this month for you, there's so much here. It's a powerful and meaningful astrological moment. Well, for you, I'm actually going to say the fact that on the 4th of the month, your ruling planet Mars will move into fellow fire sign Sagittarius. I think this works so well for you, I have to say, because whenever it is that a planet moves into a sign of your own element, you're able to tap into its energy that much more readily, that much more smoothly. And having Mars in particular, your ruling planet at that, it's like something in you feels like you're able to bring forward your very best, or at least the things that you like about yourself that much more readily. But when your ruling planet changes signs, it also represents a time when the things that truly matter to you in terms of where you find yourself, what's most on the surface, well, those priorities do change. And in this case, it's almost like you're coming out of a deeper understanding of life, having looked at yourself more profoundly. This energy of Mars changing signs, and as much as you'll still have to look at yourself profoundly with that Mercury retrograde, with that new moon in the second half of the month, that all is still there. And yet your ruling planet is moving into a very optimistic and expansive and hopeful area of the chart, which tells me that truly, whatever you might be feeling, however you might be changing now, there's also a real sense of being open to the world with excitement and gratitude in your heart. Thank you so much for watching. You can get a video like this each and every week for each and every sign for as low as just $3 a month with Choose Your Membership rate over at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com, where you get expansive, exclusive video scopes each week for each sign for as low as just $3 a month. Now, higher tiers get you things like all access passes to Synchronicity University events, consultations with me, and so much more. All of this in the Superstar space at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com, links below. A limited number of consultations are available with me between now and the end of the year, online on my website, NadiyaShah.com, and in person this month in Montreal, Canada. You can learn more and sign up for yours now, link below. Thank you again for watching. It'll be a great month. Enjoy.